Going on, everybody? Welcome. Another episode of Propping Up, Gold Boys Network, brought to you by Pickett and Boom Fantasy. I'm GriffyBets, joined here by Walla, as always. Fresh week here. Hope the first week of playoffs treated you well. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm excited for this second week here. I think kind of start to get a feel of the series a little bit and maybe throw out some of those traditional numbers and just kind of poke around and see who's been stepping up. Or maybe who feels like they need to step up that hasn't yet. So I'm excited for this week, excited for tonight. How you doing, Walla?
Good. I've Playoffs have been pretty good so far. In terms of the props, I think a lot of these guys that you're expecting to step up have been. McKinnon's been solid. Um, just Connor, guys on just these leaders on these teams. They've been coming through. So reminding me of last season, we found some guys who just there's just another level that they kick it up to and take advantage of it while you can.
Definitely. Um, yeah, my first week was a little up and down. Yesterday kind of whacked me in the face. I was a little worried when I saw Fiala was on the ice that was going to mess up something with Kempe's volume, and sure enough, he did go under. Whether or not that was the reason, I don't know. But um, just been a lot of awesome games. I mean, really, all these are our series too. Tonight is a massive night for a lot of these teams to either even the series or go up 3-1. So I'm excited. Definitely excited. I think we might as well just jump right in here to
Yeah,
Devils Rangers. Uh Devils came in, won 2-1 in overtime, game three in New York. My initial read of this situation is I do like the Rangers to find a bit more scoring success tonight. They went 0 for 5 on the power play, and that had sort of been their bread and butter. So it is you shut down New York's power play. Uh, that was the obvious difference there. So assuming they get that even close to that amount of power plays again, I do think they're going to find the back of the net a little more frequently, but I also think this hasn't been the biggest shot series so far, but I do think the Devils, I mean, these usual guys like we'll get to Hughes, Timo. I think they're going to keep shooting here. I mean, backs against the wall, of course, fits the narrative. So I know that might be where you'd like to start on the Devils shot side.
yeah. I talked about it. I think it was our last show. That just Meyer was kind of due to start getting more shots on net with his volume, and just that bump up to the line with Heischer was going to benefit. Start generating stuff a little bit more, and he's hitting a couple straight games now. I think he had 10 attempts last game. Um, I'm liking him to stick with him. I saw minus 114 on Barstool for his shots, which I'm still liking. I just think we saw earlier in the season Meyer had a 4.5 shot line, or 3.5 really juiced. Minus 114 was not where he was at, and he's still got some pretty consistent volume. You see him with 7 attempts in a lot of games. Like I said, he had 10. He had 6 before that. And you look at his chart. I was looking at on prop set cash, just the filtering the attempts. When he gets 6+ attempts, he has a 75% hit rate. And a lot of that, the missing was in that recent stretch where he was just getting 3 shots on net with like 7 attempts. So it's starting to balance out, and I think they got to look for him and Hughes to be shooting and stuff. So uh, I'm riding with Timo shots again.
Yeah, I like it. I think I'll probably end up joining you on that one. I kind of Timo is one of two guys in this game that I just feel like is so due to score. I mean, the volume, like you mentioned, has been there. Just hasn't scored yet this series. He's plus 200 to find the back of the net. I'm having a really hard time passing that up. Uh, just like guy's too talented. And he's been so involved to not have scored yet. Um, Granted, you know, they've only scored 4 goals this series, so maybe that doesn't change. But man, at some point, I mean, 23 attempts in 3 games.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
definitely thinking about it.
his longest stretch without a goal was actually the beginning of the season. He took a bit to get going, and then he, really started moving. He had another stretch of like 6 games in there, so yeah, he's right around that mark where, so far this season, he's, found a goal after that amount of time. I do like the volume, so it kind of fits in there, that if you like the do angle, just based off of that, it looks pretty good. Nice price, but yeah, I went with shots, but I could see the argument for him to finally score.
And for Hughes, one thing I just think watering him down to three in a parlay seems pretty safe here. He's got 3, 6, and 5 shots this series. He's got three or more in all 7 meetings with the Rangers this year. Only twice he's landed on three. A lot of, I mean, 8, 7, 10, 6, 5, a lot of big games there, but I thought he was at three, maybe with Zibanejad at two, which has been pretty steady as well, especially I don't know if you saw Prospect Cash added a playoff filter. So I was poking
Mhm.
around on that this morning, and last 2 years, Mika's got 2 shots in 21 of 23 in the playoffs. So um, I was thinking that that might be a nice foundation for some sort of bankroll builder type thing if you'd like to water down a couple guys.
Yeah, I like the Mikat too. I remember doing that last postseason actually in quite a bit of those parlays. It was a really solid leg to use. Um, just looking at Hughes, one thing we'll say is he went 5 for 5 on his attempts last game. It's a little, yeah, that's obviously that doesn't happen too often. So hopefully he can get a little bit more volume than that. Because then you see the games before that, he went 6 shots on goal on 13 attempts, 3 on 9, 5 on 13. So 5 for 5 is pretty impressive. For a guy who can have that high volume normally. So if he can get a little bit more shots, I feel better about it. But I can't imagine another 100% performance for shots on goal. That's just tough in the playoffs.
For sure. On the New York end, I really like them to score on Saturday, and they let me down. So I'm sure they'll come through tonight. I think obviously we need to talk about Chris Kreider. Um, I think we mentioned it last week. I, for one, think I've missed the train here on Kreider. If you've missed it, he scored 5 goals this series. He scored a goal in 6 straight against New York and 9 of his last 10, or against New Jersey, and 9 of his last 10 against them. Uh, he's got a point in 10 straight against them. My approach here is I've missed the train, and I just know if he only had 1 attempt last game and he scored. If I bet him now, he's not going to score. If you've been betting him every time, I think you have to keep betting him. I mean, try to view him in a vacuum. Your bets on Chris Kreider scoring are way up. And I find when you're riding a streak like this, it hurts way more to hop off a successful streak and then it continues without you than to bet it that fourth or fifth time and it finally loses. I think just viewing it as a vacuum, you're up on Chris Kreider goal, let it ride. The guy kills the Devils. It's absolutely nuts. Um, but I do think I'm just late to the party, and at this point, I'm going to let everybody else keep having fun. I'll go try and find like a different bar to go to or something. Um, Maybe I'll have a good night too. But that's how I view Chris Kreider. It's unreal what he's doing, and if you've been
Yeah,
betting him, you should keep doing it.
I mean, even you just look because it's not. There's one game with 9 attempts, but the volume is not even crazy. He had 1 shot attempt and it was a goal last game, and then the first two he had 3 attempts and 3 attempts in the first game, and then even the other time they met 3 attempts. He's just crazy against him. He really makes the shots count when he goes up against him. But yeah, only 1 attempt last game, so that's a little bit concerning. He had a ton of ice time, so maybe he just felt he just needed a little bit of a break or something. I don't know, but that's just I'd like to follow more volume But yeah, I agree with what you said. If you've been riding with it, it's hard not to just go back to it. The price has been what 180 like every single game. So it's not
Yeah,
really it's still right around there. So yeah, I think he can get it done. But yeah, if you haven't been betting it, he only had one shot last game. So would like to see a little bit more than that.
for sure. I did put a full unit on Mika Zibanejad to score at plus 186 on FanDuel. This is similar to what I was alluding to with Timo. This is just a guy who has not scored yet this series. And I just think he's far too talented to keep not scoring. He's got 12 attempts his last two games. And I mentioned before the power play has been where a lot of these Rangers goals have been coming. He's leading them in power play shots this series. He's also leading them in all strengths, just in expected goals, and he has none. I think he's at like 1.5 something expected goals this series, despite not having any yet. So that just tells me at some point some regression is due here, and he finds the back of the net. Um, Last year at home, he scored in six straight home playoff games. So I'm hoping at some point he finds that home touch here again. And I like sort of, you beat a team 5-1 twice in their own building. Maybe you come home feeling pretty good about yourself. So game three loss, I expected a little bit more dedicated focus here. I'm just taking a chance on a guy who feels due for a goal tonight.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good too. Looking at his shots, you know, he only had one the first game, two the second game, but then last game he gets up to four shots on goal and seven attempts. So he's uh he's looking a little bit better there, getting them on net. So if you're yeah, I think if Mika's gonna get four shots on goal, three shots on goal, he's got a really good chance to get one of them in. So yeah, I think it makes sense based on that. Uh Looking at his shots, a little too juice for me. I like the two angle you were talking about before.
And I should Adam Fox did not get a point last game. Really ruined my day a little bit. I'll probably go back to him in some form. Guys, I mean, he still has 6 points this series. He's been awesome at home. Last year at home in the playoffs, he had 13 points in 10 games. So seems like a great bounce back candidate. Very involved in the power play again that we keep mentioning. So I might just run back Fox, McCarr, Point. We'll talk about Colorado a bit more. I think there's some nice value on the other defensemen, but that seems like a nice combo that I may run for a couple rounds if they keep playing on the same nights. Very reliable.
I was on the power play. I tried to get the power play point last game and it didn't come through, Fox. But yeah, I don't think that there's any reason to just think that that's it with him. He's had some nice games against the Devils too, so they're certainly going to be looking to bounce back. I think it's a fine look going with Fox.
But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I lean the Rangers winning and scoring at least three goals. But I don't hate looking at the New Jersey studs that we mentioned for shots because they've been hitting and there's no reason for them to slow down now.
Yep.
Let's go to Toronto, Tampa, which I personally think is going to be the most exciting game of the night. Um, right off the bat, I went the over because I was writing down so many names for points props that I needed to calm myself down and just take the over. Uh, it's hit in all three games here so far. It's hit in 13 of the last 16 against these between these two. Um, and eight straight in Tampa have gone over 6.5 goals. There's been so many penalties between these teams. We talked about it last week. I'm just going to keep betting the over here. It's minus 104 on FanDuel because I want to bet Nylander again to score. I want to bet Braden Point to score if he's playing. I thought Ryan O'Reilly, Morgan Riley, Sean Crock, who broke our heart the other night, all those guys for points look great, and their prices are not that bad. So again, I calmed myself down and bet the over.
I can't believe that with we took the point for Yarncroc and didn't get one, and then the next game gets one, of course.
Didn't even. I was talking to AO about it too. I completely forgot he even existed on Saturday. Didn't think for one moment to give him a chance, and of course he comes through. Because that's how it
Yeah,
goes.
I wish I thought about that. He's plus 110 now, so
Still looks good.
yeah, he has point in 4 or 5 against Tampa, 5 points total. So
But I can't tell winner wise. It's pretty much a dead. I think it was -110 money line, both of them. I can see both angles. I mean, you know, Tampa deserves our trust in the playoffs. They're down 2-1. They're still at home. You like to think they come out firing, but at the same time, Toronto, their failure every year has sort of, to me, I'm viewing it as a gift. I'm not even really trying to chirp Leafs fans here. Just of all teams, this is a team that knows the series is not over. So to think they're just going to coast tonight because they won two straight is silly. So I expect Nylander and Matthews to continue ripping shots here, um, and push the pace. They could go home with a chance to win this series in five. I have to imagine they'd like to do that. So it seems like a toss up. Just a game I'm really excited to watch.
yeah, I like Nylander again. If I'm gonna pick out of those two, I think I'll go back to him. He's hitting 2 or 3 in the series, pretty convincingly last game, and just against Tampa this season, even before the series, he has really nice games. Um, so I think that'd be where I would look. I like the volume. Um, Matthews is good too. Just yeah, it's just shot line higher, and his volume's not any better, or the hit rate is any better to me. So I'd rather go with Nylander personally. Um, and then on the other side, I think there's a few things that look good, but I'm surprised points at -125. I guess what maybe he took that shot, but he came back. Um,
I think I saw he's gonna be good to go.
yeah, I'm solid price there. I think it's definitely he kicks it up in the playoffs. He's hitting a couple the 2 or 3 in the series. Um, Lots of shots last game. He did go 7 for 7 last game, so I imagine that number drops down, just even if he gets the same volume. But 3 seems well within reach, and -125 is what I'm seeing. I think I'd have to double check, but
That's what
seems
I
like
see.
a good spot. I like that one.
Yeah, I gonna go back to Matthews shots. I think. I mean, he had he had 5 shots on goal last game. Finally scored. I think this playoff filter on props cash is nice to also split by location as well. He's gone over this 4.5 and 3 of 4, which are all in Tampa, and just in general, last 6 games in Tampa, he's averaging 5.3 shots on goal. Over this in 5 of 6, uh, with 5 goals in those 6 games. So he's plus money again. I don't know. I think I might need to go back to my approach of just doing Matthews and Nylander shots and goal. Um, I don't know. They
Yeah,
all look
you
good.
actually you bringing that up. I was still on point, and I switched to the playoffs, and just looking at his home games, uh,
Good
the last
games.
season against Toronto as well, a couple 4-shot games in there. So like that makes me feel better about that one too.
Yeah, I like point shots. I bet it on Saturday, and he flew over. He's just, I think he has 7 power play shots this series now. Um, there's just been so many penalties. Sure, you don't want to. Maybe this is the game where they somehow tighten up like crazy, even they haven't done that once in the last 2 years. But I just really like seeing points volume there. Assuming he's good to go. Uh, just knowing he's getting those shots in the power play, it's like Kyle Connor, who we'll talk about next. Um, Guys just humming on the power play right now, and they keep getting those chances. Um, so I like point. It kind of extends to Kucherov as well,
Yeah,
who has gone over twice this series. The one time I bet him, he went under.
Hmm.
So I am pretty talented. But he looks good too. He's right behind Point. He had 13 attempts last game, 6 on goal. Just a lot that looks good here. It's hard to not sink 4 or 5 units into a game like this.
And it's a good game too if you want to, if you have some extra money to play around with, to do put a little bit on a lotto. Just gotta keep in mind that it's in regulation on FanDuel, but take a chance on it with some of these guys for sure. You know, Last game, I think if you looked at a few of the main guys, you could have had a nice hit. So if you got some extra money to play with, um, so far this series has proved pretty good for that.
Yeah, I think a condensed summary of is just trust the studs here in this series. And there's really no indication the goals are going to slow down. Maybe you think Vasilevsky has a hell of a game tonight to even this series. Wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know. Toronto looks good. It's just been a fun series. I'm going to just keep betting on the goals to happen. Did you unearth any hidden gems in this one, or you want to keep it moving?
Um, I think we could just keep it going. O'Reilly has had a couple good games with shots. If you I don't know if he's available in the alt shots or not, but he's minus 150 for 1.5, and he's hit 3 and 6 the last couple games. He's been involved, getting lots of points, which is at minus 124. So I think that could be a decent look there. A very fair price for a point. He's been involved on the power play. He had 3 points last game.
He is
Minus,
plus 182 for 3 shots.
yeah, not a bad look. He went 3 for 3 last game. A lot of these guys with some really good efficiency. He went 6 for 7 the game before, so that's it's pretty good too. So that's not a bad look. I think Point looks really solid though. Um, he's come into the playoffs pretty hot with the points, and minus 124 is a fair price.
Yeah, I thought that looked really good as well. I thought Morgan Riley point looked pretty solid too.
Yeah, the Rileys.
All right. Well, why don't we just keep it moving here to Vegas, Winnipeg? Another one I'm excited about. I'm decently invested in to start the day. Vegas is up 2-1. Every game has hit the over in this series, which is not what I personally expected. So something to keep in mind there. There's been a lot of goals, very steady flow of power plays on both ends. They're getting, 3 apiece each game. I do. So I bet Winnipeg to win. Just kind of, I was encouraged by them coming back from down 4-1 in the third. That was awesome. The arena was absolutely rocking, and they're still at home. Hellebuck had a great game. I mean, yeah, he led in 5 goals, but he also had 43 saves. So I just think they're going to carry that momentum here and even this series. Uh, yeah, so I bet them to win. It's minus 102 on FanDuel. We should talk about Kyle Connor, who's been
Yeah,
awesome.
you are loving the Jets. My goodness.
Yeah, I'm very invested on the Winnipeg end here.
Because I'm going to talk about something in a little bit that you've probably seen it too, but uh, it's just funny. There's so many good looks on the Winnipeg side right now.
I mean, they've got a sure the last game went to double OT, but they've been getting 30 plus shots off in all these games, which does make some of these guys look good. Kyle Connor has definitely been leading the charge, 5, 8, and 8, with 2 goals on 30 attempts, and
Yeah,
I mean he's at Vegas's number. He hit 5 goals meeting before that before the playoffs. He's just so involved in the power play right now, and they keep getting these chances, and he just keeps finding shots when they're given to them. So I went right back to Connor. He was minus 115 on MGM now. I think he's minus 130 everywhere. Um, I know Walla was considering using his FanDuel boost on Kyle Connor. I don't know if that's still your plan, but if you didn't see that, go to FanDuel and opt in. You get a 50% boost this week.
Yeah, yeah, you gave me the heads up on that, and I was just, doing some work this morning and just completely missed that the -115 line, for Connor, which, yeah, I like that. Last game, I think it was even money, and he's just been crushing it. Makes sense. Volumes there. He's, yeah, one of the leaders there, so he's taken that step up. So I was upset I missed that price. So yeah, I used that 50% boost. Think it got it to plus 114. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I for that price, I'll go back to him. Yeah, I think the volumes just can't be ignored. N- yeah, can he can he have a down game? Sure, but there's just no real reason to think that what he's going to be going out there and doing will change. I don't think he's not going to go out there and just all of a sudden be like, "Yeah, I'm not going to shoot tonight." The volume's just crazy, and
Hmm.
I want to trust him to just keep that up. So when I was able to use that boost, I was definitely all about it.
Yeah, I don't hate his goal either, to be honest. It's plus 145. Might be a little better on FanDuel. I know sometimes gotta check that manually because they offer two different prices. Um, yeah, I don't hate his goal at all. He's just so involved right now. Um, I might put him in some sort of lotto. Um, I think we need to talk about Neil Pionk.
Yeah,
So Josh Morrissey got knocked out immediately on Saturday. Pionk took his spot and just immediately started ripping shots. He ended up with 4 shots on goal on 9 attempts. And I did look back, and he only got one attempt in those 2 overtimes. It was not on goal, which makes me much more confident that this role will continue tonight. Um, I took his shots at 3. I took him at 4, and I took him to get a point. He had 3 points in game 3. He's had a point in every game this series. And he's got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. He's gotten 9 points in his last 6 against Vegas, and he's over 3 shots in 5 of his last 7 against Vegas. So he's up on that top power play now. He's just taking Morrissey's role. Those prices for a brief Pionk ladder, taking his point seemed too good to pass up. So jumped all over that to start the day.
yeah. I played the 3 shots with you. I like the 4 shots as well. That price shifted a little bit more than the other one. It was like I think you got it at like plus 425. You said, yeah,
Plus four
and
fifteen.
415. Sorry, screen's real small. I'm looking down at it, and it moved down to 375, which still, if you want to take a shot on it, you get a good return there. Uh, but I love that I love the 3 mark for him. Like you said, looking back at his history against Vegas, has a nice hit rate at that line. Um, some nice volume in some of those games, and you saw him step up last game when the opportunity came up. He had a ton of minutes. Um, so yeah, I'm liking that one. Think it's worth taking a stab at it.
Yeah, I think this is just a classic example of it can be high risk, high reward, but I just kind of like trusting my read, which hasn't always been right the first week. But if my read is that I think Winnipeg is going to win this game, just investing in a couple different ways that they can make that happen. Opens up a big night. It could open up a bad night, but even if they don't win, I'm expecting the volume to be there, especially down a game here and trying to even in front of their home crowd. Who again, I don't know if they were. It was just an electric atmosphere, so I think it's going to be electric again tonight. I'm excited to watch it, and yeah, these guys keep stepping up.
Hmm. Yeah,
Riley,
I was just gonna say I had to join you on that one though. It's just the opportunity. Yeah, that's just too good. I mean, you see it with I think the great example, great comparison. It's not defense, but Sagan on Dallas. Every time he gets to take that opportunity up on the
Crazy,
first
dude.
line. Absolute domination, points, scoring, shots. I played his shots last night. What, he had 4 and a goal or something in the first period? It was, uh,
So good.
so yeah, here's a guy who got the opportunity and definitely took advantage of it. So yeah, it's riskier as a defenseman, so you got to keep that in mind. Those shots can be a little bit riskier, but sometimes you got to take that chance when they're given more time. Sagan was still what, like minus 110 yesterday. There's just they're a whole lineup. It's huge for some of these guys. Meyer getting switched to that top, the other line, helping him. So these are the kind of angles that I'm liking.
Sure. On the Vegas end, I mean, we should. So game one, they only scored once on 17 shots. They've definitely exploded last couple games. 39 shots, 48 shots, and they've scored 5 goals in both. Um, Winnipeg's also been heading to the box. Those last 2 games, handing out 4 and 5 power play opportunities. Riley Smith should probably be mentioned. He's hit his shots every game this series and every game against Winnipeg the last 2 years, and him and Eichel are leading that power play charge, although neither of them have that many. But just worth flagging. His attempts are not great at all, which could be cause for concern, but the guy just keeps scraping by this 1.5 shots on goal line.
Man, I'm liking way too much in this game. Yeah, I know Eichel's been not the best person to trust this season. He hasn't been steady with the volume throughout the course of the season, but he's definitely had more volume lately. Despite when you look at his chart and look at the hit rate for the 3.5 shots line, it's 3 in his last 10, right? So it's not great, but I think it's I'm getting a similar vibe here with just like these guys like Timo who just kind of weren't having great efficiency with their shots, or just sometimes the volume was off a bit, but the volume's definitely come back. And just looking at his hit rate this season, it's a massive jump when he actually gets the volume. Uh, when he gets 6 attempts, it's 74% hit rate. So it's just really similar to the Timo angle here. Um, the volume has been here in these recent games. It was just a matter of making getting those shots on net. So it's coming off a huge game, and he's plus money. I don't know. It's a little bit tempting. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on this one, but it's it seems like that similar kind of angle. So I feel like I had to bring it up if I'm talking about that and applying it to Timo.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Eichel, his goal almost looks more intriguing. I mean, he's got 3 in his last 2. He's got 6 in 5 games against Winnipeg this year, and his volume this series has been awesome. So if he keeps it rolling with the shots, the goals might follow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just last season he was a guy you looked at for shots. He had nice volume. So I like to look at that and just think that it might be balancing out. It could, just hope for some positive regression here as power play minutes were going up and stuff. So that's just an interesting one that I wanted to flag there. He looked great last game.
Good flag. Should be a good game. That's all I got. And yeah, pretty invested on the Winnipeg end tonight myself.
Yeah, I wanted to
Uh,
also say Lowry point. That was the one. Uh, it's at plus 105. He has 4 points in this series, 2 of them on the power play, which is plus 690.
wow, that does look good.
So you want to avoid juice in the playoffs if you're trying to just find all the plus money angles, because that's very good strategy. If you don't need to hit as many bets obviously to get into the green here when you're looking at all these plus money angles. but plus 105. He's been producing
Yeah, Nino
free
Ryder's on the
shots.
top. He's on the top line. He's also plus 105 for a point. He's got three this series. Uh, Same price. Guy on the top line plus money. If you like Winnipeg to find some success tonight, that's another good one.
Yeah, he came alive at the towards the end of that last game too. So like, I think he was just sitting. He didn't have much going on, I think, and then he just started firing off some shots and scored a goal. So maybe a little momentum there for Nino, but it's just yeah, a lot of good plus money. Yeah, plus money in the series for guys who have a point in each game or two out of three of the games. It's a very tempting night for these props.
Definitely. Last game of the night, Colorado, Seattle. Um, Colorado's now up 2-1. Still in Seattle here. I have believed it from the beginning, and nothing's really changing. I think at this point, Avalanche are just going to keep on scoring and winning. Uh, the last game was definitely, and they scored 6 goals. McKinnon finally got over the hump there with some goals after the amount of shots that he's been putting up. Um, Not much has changed for me here. I think Avalanche win. I think they're going to find their shots and their goals again. I mostly focused on points props in this one to start. I don't know if you've considered anybody for shots. I mean, McKinnon at minus 160 for five is tough to. He's got 11 attempts or more in all three. It's just hard to. I don't know
It's
what to
so
do
funny
with
though that
McKinnon.
you could have been running the ladder each game, and then last game he gets 13 attempts, which is more than the two prior games, but there were so many blocked. He only ended up with five on net. So uh yeah, it's really unfortunate um that I know we a couple of us played his ladder in the last game, which had been hitting, and it's just man, he was really ripping off the attempts, and it just didn't come through. But if he's the volume's been there every game, so I would expect him to see similar success. I mean, last game he still got the five on net even when he had eight blocked. So uh like him to keep firing away, and if he gets another 13 attempts, maybe he can hit one of those plus money alt lines or something this time around, because I wouldn't I don't want to play at the minus 160 for his shots. It's just I get it, but just me personally, I'm trying to find a little bit better prices on things.
Definitely. I mean, I don't. He's even money to score. Scored twice last game. If you'd like to just bet him to score again, I certainly don't hate that look. Um, I wonder what like his shots with like Miko or Zibanejad to get two. Let me just that brings it to minus 106. Looking for some way to bring down the juice. Uh,
Yeah, that's fair.
can get creative there, but yeah, I don't see him slowing down here. I
Yeah,
went for some of these defensemen um, to get a point. Tays and Bowen Byram. I went both of them. Caesars is having the best points prices at the moment. Tays is minus 115 there. Byram is minus 105. Uh, Tays has 4 points in his last two. He's got a point in 14 of his last 23 in the playoffs. I think on the road to end the year, he was just on an absolute tear with 13 points in his last 9 games. And then Bowen Byram, second on the team in shots somehow behind McKinnon this series with 15. And he's got a point in all 3 games. So I'm a sucker for those defenseman points. So I did a half unit on each because I was trying to figure out which one to put in my article. And then I just like, why am I choosing? I'm just going to pick both. Ideally, they both win. They're on different pairings, but those prices I just could not ignore.
yeah, I like Tays for sure. Might have to join you on that one. Looks really good. He's been rolling. I mean, 2 points in a lot of these games. I
They've
wonder.
also Both those guys have covered their shots in every game this series as well. They're both down at 1.5.
Yeah, Tays is uh 3 and 2 of these games. Volume. Let's see what's the volume at. Yeah, pretty nice volume too. So that's definitely an option there. He's at the 1.5 line. Normally, but if you either parlay that or he's been hitting 3. I mean, he's got 3 shots in what's that? 6 or 5 of his last 10 there. And if you look at away, he's got 3, 4, 4 in his last 3 games. So definitely been looking good on the road. Lots of points, lots of shots. I like Tays.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't look at the Seattle end too much because I just don't believe that they're going to win. So I don't feel like investing in positive props when I don't believe in them. I don't know if you poked around at anything.
Uh, Not much. There's again, if you're just looking for, if you like trying to find plus money on guys who've had, a couple successful games, Eberle's big plus money, a couple games with 3 shots, Schwartz plus money, but uh, would like to see a little bit more volume from them. But I'm trying to poke through and see for any plus money things. Just those 2 guys. Eberle's got all right volume. Last game, 5 shots. For him, he doesn't get, he's pretty efficient with his shots, but yeah, I'm not gonna mess with them at all, personally.
No. Nichushkin sounds like he may miss the entire series. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Um, Something to keep in mind. I haven't really poked around on how some of these guys have stepped up when he's out of the lineup, but in case you missed that over the weekend, he didn't play last game. It sounds like he's not going to be coming back for a little. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
Might
I'll
be a
definitely look
family
into it.
thing or something.
Taze, that's tempting me. Like his volume in the series and just has been stepping up lately. All right. Gonna take
Anything
the
else in
high
this one?
nutrition though.
That's all I really had in this one. I'm gonna just opt for the points. Uh, Maybe do something with McKinnon shots, but just didn't love shots as much. Everything was so juiced except Rantanen, who's even money, and he did have 6 shots last game on 9 attempts, and he did score twice as well. Maybe he carries that momentum. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's Miko when Valerie's out that has been stepping up. I can take a quick look. Don't mind me as I just type in a search term
Yeah,
without.
I'm invested here now, looking through Tay's stuff. But I'm gonna play his point. I think it's too good to pass up.
Ranton actually dips down almost 0.8 shots per game when Nichushkin's out. That's interesting.
Now look at Tays. I just want to see some. I just want it to
Okay,
be
you
stupid for
got it.
some reason. I
Okay,
want it to be like Tays just rips the puck when he's out or something.
Tays with Nichushkin 2.08 shots per game this year. Now without, which is a 29 game sample, I regret to inform you, it dips down to
Yeah, I was gonna
1.97.
say it's not gonna be good.
I might as well just
Oh,
search a couple other guys while we're here. McKinnon without him, 5.31 shots per game.
oof.
With him 5. There's our first
Okay.
positive correlation. In case you didn't know that Nathan McKinnon's good. Any other names you want me to look at now that I'm got this search term queued up, or
Uh,
should we wrap this show up?
I don't think we need to go through and look at all the guys.
Fine, Kale McCarr. Good thinking.
Fine.
Nothing worth reporting. All right,
No.
let's put a bow on this show. Best bets. Um, Save whatever you I forget what we agreed on pick and play of the day, but let's save that one. What are some others that standing out to you here
I forget what
after?
it is, but let's save it. Uh, all right, so I am going to go with Braden Point shots. Um, as long as
Yep.
he's good to go, I think that that's a really solid look. I like the minus 125 price for him. He's really been he's been good these playoffs. I think he's got some nice games at home against Toronto, and just expect him to keep going, especially if they get those power play opportunities. So I'm liking that one a lot.
Yep. I like that. I'm all over Pionk tonight. And I just really think Mika's going to get off to the Schneid. Sabinajad, that is, to just hasn't scored yet. I expect him to have a little bit more success tonight. That's probably one of my favorites at plus 186. And yeah, that Tampa Toronto over just keeps looking so good. So I'm just excited for that one. Hope the goals are flowing in. Yeah. Okay. Pick and play of the day is I
It
remember
was
it now, but you can
yeah.
say it.
I was gonna say Timo shots. We're gonna ride with him to keep it going. I just think this is what you expect from his volume. I gave a good talked about it quite a bit earlier, but at the price for minus 114 and the volume he's getting, I just think earlier in the season it wouldn't have been minus 114, would have been much more juiced or even up at 4.5. So he's gotten it going lately. I'll back him again at that price.
Yeah, love the volume, love the stakes. And again, I don't hate that guy to score a goal. I may do a Zibanejad Timo parlay to both score. Just a couple guys who haven't yet gotten in on the fun. I think it was plus 751 this morning on FanDuel, so I may just take a shot at that. Why not?
Hmm.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining, everybody. I think we'll be back Wednesday. There's only two games, but have a chance to dig into some deeper looks, perhaps. I don't think all these teams are the same, so we won't just be repeating all our talking points from today. I hope. So we will see you back on Wednesday. Thanks for joining. Good luck tonight.
Yep. See you guys.